The most important thing that's going to happen over the next month and a bit, Biden-Trump debate.
I didn't think it was going to happen at all. We'll see if it does. I'm still not convinced.
Oh, you still unsure that it's actually going to go ahead?
Well, if they allow for mic cutting, which is what the Biden camp wants, I don't know why Trump would accept that. If it does happen, it's going to be a bloodbath. Like Trump will win for sure. Biden has not even appeared on a friendly interview for longer than 30 minutes or something. And I've never, I mean, could you imagine him sitting down for 2 hours or 3 hours in front of Rogan or something? It's not possible. I don't know how he's going to go head to head with Trump, who is one of the most successful short form, like television warriors in the history of the medium. He's really good at it. The good news for Biden is if he somehow survives it, it'll be a huge boon to him, but he probably won't. And until now, but I guess I should say until now, saying nothing has only helped Trump. So I think Biden's just in a rough spot where he has to do, he has sort of no choice.
Okay. When you're a declining stock, you need to do something to reverse it, even if that thing is quite high risk.
He's on a failure course right now.
Is that what your prediction would be if there's basically no change by the Democrats, that you're looking at Republican victory in November?
Yeah, I think it's like a smash victory. I think it's like a huge, huge victory. So they need to do something. I think a big part of it is immigration. A big part of it is inflation. I think those things are weirdly linked. Not the immigration is not causing the inflation. I think the immigration is being used to sort of like stem the inflation. Immigration, even if it's mass illegal immigration, has positive effects on the numbers in the economy that you point to say our economy is doing well. It's just like it has all of these other effects that for whatever reason economists don't seem to care about, like the dissolution of our fucking culture in America and the simple law of supply and demand that affects more poor and middle class people than rich people with desk jobs. When you're talking about mass low skilled immigration, people are furious. People have always been furious, but also it's never even been this bad before. Think about 10 million illegal immigrants in your country of 330 million. That's what, 3%? That is an enormous population of people who broke a law to get here, and people are mad across demographics. So the big story, I think, of the next election is going to be the black vote, specifically the black male vote, which has never been Trumpier and has never been Republican. Trump was always
what's driving that?
Immigration. I think it's entirely immigration. I think that, I mean, you look at Chicago, videos out of Chicago and the effects of illegal immigration in Chicago, and you look at those meetings, those community meetings where people are coming to yell, it's black people. It's all black people. It's black neighborhoods where this is happening. It's black people who are already struggling, lower class black people who are already struggling on work for whatever. You could say it's unfounded. You could say it's founded, but certainly the blame is being placed on illegal immigration. And no one is stupid enough to believe that that's not Biden's fault. So it's like this election will be a referendum on that more than anything. And then inflation, and Biden sucks at both. And so what is left? The wars. Who cares about them really? Not many people, other than like reflexively wish we weren't at them. But certainly Biden has gotten us into them, right? Like Ukraine happens on Biden's watch. Israel happens on Biden's watch. We're somehow really woven into both. I saw this crazy, it was funny, but darkly funny meme on Instagram. It was the Iron Dome stopping a bunch of rockets. So you saw these rockets coming up and hitting all these other rockets. And the meme just said like, my tax dollar is paying for this, the Iron Dome. And then up here on the top, my tax dollar is somehow also paying for this. And that's like number 3. It'll be like, that's order number 3 of things that we care about. And then it's just the fun culture war shit, which,
the abortion debate. What about Roe?
I don't know. I don't have a sense of how much people really care about this. It seemed to matter in the last election. I think Americans are more divided on it than people like to believe, but is it more important than the immigration stuff and the inflation stuff to people? I don't think so. I guess we'll see. Yeah, I don't know about that one. What about you? What do you think?
That's a really tough one to work out as well. I don't think about it that much, but I think about it a good bit. And I think most people don't know their position very thoroughly on it. Like if you really, really quiz people hard, a sufficiently good argument can usually begin to yeah, well, you kind of sort of right on that thing a little bit. It's one of the few debates or one of the few discussions where every time, like I hear a Shapiro, right, do his thing and he breaks down life begins, it's not a bundle of cells, blah, blah, blah. And I go, fucking hell, that sounds pretty compelling. And then I hear someone who's like super pro-choice give their argument and I go, fucking hell, that's super compelling. I'm like, I don't know. I've just been like legitimately like actually gaslit by both sides, and now I believe both at the same time. I don't fucking know.
Well, that's America has been like this on Roe v. Wade and abortion in general forever. It's never moved. It's always close to 50% on both sides. There's no other issue that I can think of like that in history. It's just always hotly divided, and so separate from the question of whether Roe v. Wade was a good law, and I think it was not, or a good ruling, and I think it was not. There's the question of what should be done, and that's more complicated. And what the real answer here is you want something codified. You want to codify a law, and rather than judge on something in a stupid way that doesn't make any sense and everybody knows is not correct, where the judicial branch essentially creates a law for you. You want our legislators to legislate and create something, but they can't agree. I think probably what makes the most sense is something closer to what I don't want to wade into abortion debate. I'm pro-choice within reason. Like I have all sorts of caveats like everybody else. I think that I agree with you that most people don't fully know what they think about this. It just makes them uncomfortable and they don't want to have to think about it. But there are a handful of people who care about it a lot. In this election, do they punish Trump for it? Can they punish Trump for it? I don't know. I know that I know a lot more people who talk about immigration. I see a lot more people talking. I don't see people talking about Roe v. Wade really anymore.
I suppose the timing of it, you just recency bias and people's attention span is so short that right now,
what would they have
immigration.
Biden would have to make a promise for some sort of law to be codified. And if he did that, he would lose a lot of people and gain some people, right? Because wherever he drew the line of where abortion would not be allowed, right? No one wants an abortion a day before birth, right? You can just start there. So there are some who do, some very radical people who want that and will never let go of it. And those people are the ones who run the organizations that are pro-choice. The average American doesn't. The average left-wing person doesn't. The average pro-abortion person doesn't. But the people who run shit do. So Biden has to draw a line somewhere if he's going to float legislation. And once he does that, he gives a huge attack space for Trump to come in and be like, this man wants to kill babies. And so it's like no one's really incentivized to propose a law in the middle of an election that is already hard to win, especially not a Democrat. So it's going to be hard. It'll be hard for both of them, but like you can either punish Trump for Roe v. Wade. That's one thing, but there's not a really clear alternative. There's not like, if I vote for this person, I'm going to get what I want.
It's just how viscerally people are affected by this as well. Abortion by definition is an individual impact, whereas something like economy, inflation, immigration, those things are much more scattergun and they're felt by people en masse. There's waves of it that occur, like literally, right? There's waves of it that occur. And I think that galvanizes people in a different sort of way. But that debate, my God. Here's one thing that I have noticed though. Trump is way less in the news. Like I just don't see, you think about the buildup to the last two elections and it was everywhere. And I'm like, where the fuck is he? Because he's not on Twitter? Like, what's going on? I just don't see.
A huge part of it. Part of it was there was no primary because he didn't have to have a primary because he was going to win. So he stayed out of it. And then part of it is he's not on Twitter and there are less people on, no one's really on his network. And there are media people are still on Twitter. So if he was on Twitter, media people would still at least see what he's tweeting. He would feel more sort of present in their brains. They would at least be more anxious about it and be writing more about it. And then part of it is Biden's just not I think Democrats are really embarrassed of him. So while people really hate Trump on the left, the average person on the left is not excited about Biden. They're like, this feels a little bit criminal that we're trying to float someone who's totally senile.
What do you think that people on the right think an equivalent side? They probably really don't like Biden, but do they really like Trump?
There are people who love Trump in a way that no president has been loved in our lifetime. And it's a non-trivial fraction of the right. People who fucking love him, who would do anything for him. And that's not a majority of the right. That's a good, huge chunk of a base that really, really, really devoutly loves him. And then you have a lot of people who are fine with him. And then you have a lot of people who didn't vote for him, but might now because they have a bunch of different reasons. Some are talking about the wars. Some are talking about the economy. Some are talking about immigration. You had all sorts of weird own goals on the left. So the way that Warren went after cryptocurrency, for example, there are a lot of people with exposure to cryptocurrency who are like, who is this bitch coming after my Bitcoin? And why does she think that she's able to do that? That's insane. There are all sorts of tax gains proposals and wealth tax proposals, which hit the rich, who fuel a lot of the money behind these different grassroots campaigns. You also have 4 years of incompetency from Biden, I think, on a range of things, but specifically, I think foreign policy has been pretty bad. If you're voting for a guy who you think is going to make things calm and return us to norms, and then he tries to put the frontrunner president in prison and is now fighting 2 wars abroad, like, that is not what you asked for. And it's like, even if he wasn't senile, it would be a hard sell at this point, I think. But he's all of those things and he's senile. So it's they're like separate from the left who's just tolerating him. I think a lot of people on the right are like, a lot of people in the middle, I think, are thinking, well, Trump's better than that. And we know what Trump is. No matter what people say about Trump being fascist dictator and blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, we've had 4 years of Trump. So we know roughly what that feels like, just like we've had 4 years of Biden. This is the first election like that we've ever had, where we actually know exactly what a presidency feels in both directions. So that by we, I don't mean America, I mean we alive right now, have never experienced this before. So you can't really say, there's no fear of the uncertainty here. There might be fear, but it's not of the uncertainty, which fuels, I think, a lot of what happens in most elections.
This episode is brought to you by Element. Stop having coffee first thing in the morning. Your adenosine system that caffeine acts on isn't even active for the first 90 minutes of the day, but your adrenal system is, and salt acts on your adrenal system. Element contains a science-backed electrolyte ratio of sodium, potassium, and magnesium with no sugar, no gluten, no coloring, no artificial ingredients, or any other BS. It plays a critical role in reducing muscle cramps and fatigue while optimizing brain health, regulating appetite, and curbing cravings. The orange flavor in a cold glass of water is literally the best way to start your morning. I've done it every single day for over 3 years now, way before they were a partner on the show, and I love it. Best of all, there is a no BS, no questions asked refund policy, so you can buy absolutely risk-free, and if you do not like it for any reason, they will give you your money back, and you don't even need to return the box. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modern wisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modern wisdom. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you enjoyed that clip, you will love the full-length podcast in all its glory, which is available right here. Go on. Press it.